UFC is a cooperative, and a cooperative by definition is really a group of people banding together to gain access to something they couldn't do on their own. I think that very principle applies to how our employees work here. As you travel around our company, I think one of the greatest strengths we have is the pride that the individual employees take in their job every day. Whether it's driving a truck, taking care of servicing a customer at the counter, or pouring you a cup of coffee at the convenience store, every job's important, and we try to focus on that. It's the little things that you do every day that make a difference. And I think people feel good about that. And that's why we have multiple generations of folks who work here at UFC. From my standpoint, as someone that's charged with some of the leadership responsibilities, that's one of my greatest joys, is to see that. People coming back here, having a good place to work in the communities that they want to live in, making a difference. It's not always about the money. It's about making a difference and feeling like you are a part of something. And I think that's part of what we've been able to establish here collectively over 100 years. Obviously, when you're celebrating a milestone such as a 100-year celebration, it's natural to look back and look at what's happened through the years.
Back in my time, the town of Lafayette was a booming town. And it was because, the co-op was a big business in town.
And it was a creamery, and then actually, when my dad was on the board, it was actually a locker plant.
And it was my grandpa Joe Meidel's car in the picture by the creamery. The vantage point of a car bringing milk cans to a creamery is way out of the picture.
Well, since I grew up around here, it's kind of like a lifeblood for me also. My dad did business with UFC back many years ago. Of course, that time it was Farmers Cooperative Lafayette.
I grew up 3 miles from town, basically 3 miles north of Lafayette. As kids, we realized it was pretty kind of exciting when the co-op came out to the farm.
We did what we were supposed to do, what we were asked to do, I guess, voted to do. And I guess I let it go at that. And of course, from the creameries, it grew. Pretty soon there was machinery, and then feed, and fuel, and it just grew from there into what it is today. Yeah.
There's an old saying that goes something like, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That hasn't changed over 100 years either.
Well, I think you get good and fair pricing, and for an awful lot of producers, that boils down to the number one criteria yet. But above and beyond that, I think you get people that care.
That's the glue that keeps it all together here is the people. Facilities and equipment are great, but you have to have people and teamwork, an organization that pulls it all together.
It's just some great people that we have in the cooperative system. It's just an honor to work with them.
My experience with UFC has been that their word is golden. They've done exactly what they said they were going to do, or more. And they've done it when they've said they were going to do it, or sooner.
Really, working with a cooperative is all about relationships. You can buy inputs anywhere. I choose to buy them from UFC because of the people they have working for them.
There's another inherent value to customers that are also UFC patrons, is oftentimes they're here conducting business, whether it be agronomy, grain, feed, livestock, machinery, equipment, all those things. It's just another step or another door down the hall, so to speak, so it's a lot of one-stop shop.
There are facilities where the patrons need them. We have locations where their fields are.
This is a family-owned business, is what I call it. But it's a cooperative, which we satisfy all the needs of all the people. Whether you're buying gas or groceries out of a C-store or buying $1 million worth of seed and fertilizer, we're all one, we're all the same.
We haven't lost touch with the smaller communities and that, and we've dealt with them, stayed in the towns and that, and helped them prosper.
Well, we try to be friendly to everybody. You know, the farmers are our family too, almost, because we talk to them, you know, regularly, and we're doing their grain checks, and that's personal.
It's the highlight of this employment is to know the farmers and to work with them on a week-to-week basis, to be familiar with their family and their land and their strengths, try and help build maybe some things into that and make them even better capable to do the job and reach the goals that they want to do.
We've been worked with the United Farmers Co-op since my grandfather started doing that years ago. And the reason we've done it is because they have good equipment, facilities, and so forth, but the real reason is the people.
We get all our feeds from UFC Farm Supply, also all the supplements for the horses. And we're very happy because they're so customer orientated and they're so helpful.
It's been pretty exciting. I am very proud of the accomplishments that we have made and look really to the future as far as what we are going to be able to achieve.
You need to have, obviously, the membership to be able to continue to support it, and that works as a team because you got to have people then that work for those members that are providing the right kind of service and support for them, and I think that's worked very well, demonstrated by the 100 years.
In my old co-op where I was before, there I think we were in the high 80s in order to pay people their patronage out. Well, now we're down to the age of 69, and that's quite an accomplishment. I mean, that's awesome. But one thing, if it wouldn't be for the patrons giving the co-op business, we would have never made it 100 years. So I applaud them too. That's awesome.
It's one thing to have all the technology and the best equipment and all of that. That's becoming more table stakes. What people are really interested in today, I think, do you care? They've made an investment in buying a piece of equipment from you, or they've trusted you with your agronomy business. That's great. You've collected the money, you provided the service, but now it's time to go check the field and check up on your work. Do you care? Do you have the ability to follow up and do that? I think that's a focus that we have here at UFC, is making sure that we're there 52 weeks a year, making sure we're in those communities, we're on those farms, we're in those businesses, and doing the best we can to make a difference.
Oh yeah, I feel like everyone around you, and you know, whatever department you're talking about, everyone's always, you know, up and, you know, full of energy and ready to do something or whatever. And it's, you know, where are we going to go in the next 100 years?
Boy, that's a $64 question. There is certainly a lot of advantages to the scope and size that the business has become because of what it can offer and the efficiencies that have been gained. But there certainly is a perception in the country that you can get too big.
No, it doesn't matter how much technology is out there and everything. It always comes making sure that the customer is satisfied and keeping them first in mind.
The UFC is one of the most progressive co-ops that I've seen, and they're moving forward, but they're moving forward in a very progressive way that is an advantage to all of the co-op members. It's just not leaps and bounds, it's making sure it's got controlled growth.
I think the biggest thing is if there's a need for you out there as a farmer, they most likely will have it, whether it's their fertilizer hub plant down in Winthrop, where they can, you know, it's a hub and spoke system and they can service a wide area out of that one location. Whether it's on their grain side with their new shuttle loading elevator facility over in Brown, if you need it, they'll provide it.
This precision farming thing has become very, very huge. With our input costs, you know, just being astronomical, that maybe we can cut here and cut there a little bit. It's huge, it's huge. It's all about this. It's all about the money, the savings. And these people are working with us, yet alone I want them to make money too. You know, so it's, I want to make money, they want to make money, but we're finding that happy medium where we're working together and getting it done.
So we use that a lot for crop scouting. You can fly a drone out
and see that variability in the field, see, you know, where your low, heavier ground is, how it's performing versus your higher sandy ground, and start being more localized and take a more microscopic view of how that field's performing.
You know, things in agriculture just keep evolving. Yeah, I often think, you know, if some of the forefathers could see where we're at today, I'd like to think they'd be excited, but they might sure say, what did you guys get into? But
growth potential is still there. They have the capabilities in-house to grow considerably if that's the choice.
It's a challenge to say, well, we're not just growing for the sake of growth. You know, we're growing with purpose, and we're bringing different opportunities into the organization for a reason.
As we wind down the celebration of 100 years of United Farmers Cooperatives, on behalf of all of us here at UFC, we want to congratulate and thank you as members, customers, and owners of UFC for helping us make it through 100 years. What started our cooperative back in 1915 hasn't changed. We're still committed to the communities, the customers, and the principles of cooperative ownership. We strongly believe that if we continue to honor that commitment, we'll be back 100 years from now, or someone will be back 100 years from now, hopefully talking about the great things that you've been able to accomplish together through United Farmers Cooperative. Congratulations on 100 years.